Hey, what's going on, guys? Coming at you with a deck profile of the deck that I used at the Columbus Regional this past weekend, and that was my Demise Barrier Statue deck. So overall, it was a really fun event, really fun weekend. I go more in depth about it in some of my duel logs. So if you guys haven't watched those, feel free to check them out. I talk in the first one about the ultimate lucksack I experienced around 8, which basically ended up costing my invite. I ended up X3-1, losing out on the bubble at 103rd place, which doesn't sound too impressive, but it was a 513 person regional, and the top cut was top 64, so I was right in the borderline there. Just had some really dumb luck in that game, and also in another game against DDDs that kind of ended up costing my invite, but still overall it was a fun day. I was happy with how the deck performed, other than a few things that were kind of dumb luck. Felt like it did its job, and I definitely feel like it's a strong contender going forward as a counter to Zodiac's post-Zodiac format. So we'll go ahead and get right into the deck profile. And if you want to check out the tournament report, I'll leave a link, or I'll put it in the description below, my matchups and how those went. As I said, I was X3-1. So starting off, the monster lineup's pretty much the same as it's always been for the most part. We have the 3 Fossil Dyna. Let me zoom out here. That's probably better. There we go. Okay, so we have the triple Fossil Dyna, the triple Barrier Statue of the Drought, and then finally the 2 Storm Winds. Really the only thing that changes going forward with the monster lineup is the Earth guy gets taken out and replaced because Zodiacs are Earth. So probably bumping him up to 3. I got to figure out another element to play, maybe something like Water, Fire, or Dark. I may even consider just playing Jowgen in the main deck or Thunder King Ryo, but this lineup was good for this event, but going forward, the Drought just becomes the worst one because of Zodiacs. So that's it for monsters. For spells, we of course have the triple card Demise, triple Duality. Let's actually zoom this out a bit more. There we go. Okay, and then the 2 Desires. This was actually my first big event using Desires, and while I do say it is a necessary card in decks like this that can play their key cards at 2 or 3, and it was a very good card throughout the weekend, there are some times where your greed, per se, can come up biting you in the butt. It happened against a DDD player game 3. I basically need to draw into one of my 5 side deck board outs to out his turn 1 board, and Desires banished all of those board wipe outs, and then drew into another Desires and my Duality that I just used that turn. So, sometimes you just get dumb luck with Desires, but still overall, if you can afford the card and you're playing a deck that plays multiples of it, it still is really good to play. Then for the final spell, we have probably the low-key best card of the weekend, the Triple Mage Power. It was just ridiculous how much this card sped up many of my games, how it boosted up my really small monsters into really powerful punchers that would do damage quickly, beat over anything, and just Mage Power overall was a really strong card. I decided to take out the field spells, the Seovori Kalkos and Gaia Power. While they were good for a little bit of extra attack boosting and also getting a card out of my hand under the Demise, I really didn't do anything else besides that, so I just figured instead of those 2 cards I could play some more protection for the Barrier Statue, since the field spells really would be kind of dead a lot of the times, so that's why I decided to cut them, and I don't regret that decision really. So onto the traps, definitely the meat of the deck right here. I think it's 21 traps. We of course have the Triple Dark Bribe, another best card of the weekend, negated so many things, Twin Twisters, Dark Holes, Regekis. This card was just so clutch. The triple Phantom Knight Sword and the triple Phantom Knight Wings. I think this was the right decision to max out on each of them. They're just both really good, protecting your Vayne's Emptiness monsters from destruction, giving them that attack boost. In the case of Wayne, a permanent attack boost. This is really, really good. Really nice to be able to activate in damage step as well, to beat over bigger monsters or just get extra damage. So overall, these were really good. Then we have the triple Solemn Strike, really good for negating annoying monster effects and also catching your opponent off guard if they do find a way to get over one of your stun monsters. Then for the Battle Trap, I decided to play Freestorming Mirror Force. I think this was a correct decision over, say, Quaking Mirror Force or just a regular Mirror Force, because it doesn't destroy, it doesn't target, also gets the monsters off the board, unlike Quaking Mirror Force, which is good for clearing the board for damage, and also because this deck can sometimes struggle with high defense monsters. Then for some more protection against things like Dark Hole, Regeki, and Twin Twisters, we had the 2 Huge Revolutions over. This card was actually also really good this weekend. Biggest reason you play it is because unfortunately you can only play 3 Dark Bribes. If I could play like 6 or 10, I probably would, but you need something else to be able to negate Twin Twisters and massive removal, and Huge Revolution is over, did a really good job of that. In fact, I'm considering bumping it up to 3 in the future. Then we played some generic 1-ofs, the 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulse, 1 Ring of Destruction, and 1 Warning. Warning obviously was really good throughout the weekend. Compulse and Ring came up a few times, Bottomless did. I mean, they were about as good as I expected them to be. I kind of wish I could play like some more protection over, say, like a Compulse or maybe even a Ring, but there's just not much more you can really play. Forbidden Lance is something I considered, but it conflicts with your Phantom Knight trap cards and your Mage Power, so that's why I decided against that. But yeah, I feel like this was pretty solid overall. So that's it for the main deck. Total of 40 cards. It's 8 monsters, 11 spells, and 21 traps. I decided not to play a side or an extra deck, which a couple of the guys in my group were telling me was a bad decision. Basically because playing a 0-card extra deck and your opponent actually asking about it or knowing about it can basically narrows down the amount of decks that it could be down to, say, something like a Demise deck or Dominating Monarchs. So they felt like at least playing a bluff extra deck could have been to my benefit when I'm going second, which thinking about it probably was the case, and I probably will put in a bluff extra deck going forward. So for the side deck, we have the 2 Archfiend Eccentric. Pretty good throughout the weekend. What's nice is a walking MST. Actually used it for the exact damage I needed for game against a Blue Eyes player, which was really funny. The 2 Lecter. I did have 1 Metalfoes matchup where I sided this in, didn't see it, didn't end up seeing Kieran, but this is the whole point of siding Lecter, is to negate Kieran, because it's just really annoying for this deck to deal with. Then we have the double Dark Hole and 1 Regeki for going second for board whites, because a lot of decks right now are able to establish boards, really strong boards turn 1, with at least 1, if not 2 negators. So you need to bait out those negations or get those big monsters off the board to clear the way for your own setup. Then we have the 2 MST. Was considering buying Galaxy Cyclones before the event, but I decided against them because they've gone up to like $20. And I feel like the extra life you pay for it isn't that worth it in this kind of deck, where really you're just looking to side an MST against Royal Decree for the most part. Then we have these 2 Swords of Concealing Light as another out to big boards, way to bait out negations. And plus is really cool because you can kind of stall with it for a turn or 2 and protect it with things like Dark Bribe and Huge Revolution is over. Then probably the most lackluster card of the weekend was the 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance. As I said, I did face the 1 Metalfoes player, and I actually did see both of these in my game 2 going first. But honestly, most of it was probably because I didn't open too well in that game, but it really didn't do a whole lot. He still found other ways to put out monsters and get over my board. So honestly, I feel like it's kind of redundant when you have like a Fossil Dyna or a Berry Statue on board and this, because with the monster on board, they're already not able to special summon, and then with this on the board, they just can't play their scales, which for Metalfoes, the only thing their scales do is like spin out their deck and gain them a bit of advantage, but it doesn't help them in any way of gaining over your board. So honestly, going forward, I'd probably take out these Anti-Spell Fragrances and put in 2 Jowgen instead, just as an extra board wipe that I can actually summon as a monster that can lock out special summoning. Then for the final side card, probably the MVP of the side deck is the 2 Chaos Trap Hole. This came in useful against the Denko Sekka in my last round. Also came in useful against the Metalfoes player who actually sided in Holding Legs, which is a really nice tech. So yeah, Chaos Trap Hole overall really good for making sure that you don't get locked, your back row doesn't get locked out by Denko or random Holding Legs. So that is it for this regional deck profile of the Barrier Statue Stun deck that I played. As I said, I chest lost out in the bubble again, placing 103rd out of 513 people. So still pretty happy with how this deck performed. Still had a lot of fun throughout the weekend, but it was unfortunate that because of a few things that happened, just dumb luck, I ended up not getting my invite, but yeah, that's what happens. So I do hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.